Well, here we are. So let's get the train set up before we do anything else. Right, let's get that annoying thing isolated. There we go. Right, we want lights on day. I think that is everything at the moment. Instrument lighting on, cab lighting we don't need. Right, I think we are there. Let's take a look outside. Here is our Class 220 with the CrossCountry livery. Let's get the doors open. So we don't have anything showing on the destination board. Unsurprisingly, even if we did have the option to do that, I don't think Mallaig is going to be one of the destination options available to us. So I'll take one last look at Penzance. I mean, considering the distance we are going to be travelling, here we are at a relatively small station in a town that's right by the coast, and when we finish we will be in a relatively small station in a town right by the coast. So we'll be doing somewhere in the region of, well, I think it's going to be over 800 miles to finish pretty much exactly the same kind of place that we start. Yes, I have been noticing these cars disappearing. So I'll turn off DR8, I don't need that anymore. Next signal up ahead is green, so we are fine there. So we'll be leaving in 10 seconds. What I'll also do is while we are making our way to our next station, which is also our first, as we get underway, we'll do a radio test after each station.
Welcome to the remote radio test unit. Please leave your message after the tone.
This is an NRN radio test call.
So test is fine. There's a shock. So we are very soon entering a 70 mph zone. That is likely to be, actually it's not quite the fastest we will be for this entire run to Plymouth. It's the second fastest. The fastest is only 5 mph quicker. Now, if you're wondering why CrossCountry, and therefore an intercity train, only has 4 cars, well, you're not the only one. A lot of the passengers often wondered that. CrossCountry do not have a very good reputation as far as the privatised rail companies are concerned. In fact, their reputation is dismal. Their trains are often late. They are very often extremely overcrowded, as you can see. And more often than not, if their trains are really late, it's because it's been cancelled and no one has been informed of it. Add to that the fact that the Class 220 was not hugely popular among passengers. The seating was apparently uncomfortable. The headroom was not great, because even though the 220 didn't tilt, it used the same carriages as the tilting 221. So yeah, headspace was a bit of a premium. There wasn't a huge amount of legroom either between seats, so yeah, they were not very popular among passengers at all. The 221 was an improvement, but not much of one. I think the biggest improvement that the 221 offered, as well as the tilting, so it was able to go fast around corners, as we're now in a 75 zone, so this is the fastest section of this entire run to Plymouth. Yeah, it tilted so it could go faster around corners, which the 220 didn't, but also its consists were made up of 5 cars, not 4. I'll also just add, yeah, this is determined to tell us that we're in a 221. We are not, we are in a 220. There's no sign of the tilting you know, controls anywhere, so yeah, we are definitely in a 220. If we were in a 221, we still wouldn't be able to tilt around any of these corners anyway. It's never permitted, even set during a time before all of the tilting mechanisms were disabled on all UK trains, which to me is a totally pointless exercise. So we are on a 1 in 103 uphill gradient. One thing that this particular stretch of railway on the South Cornish main line, actually I think it's just the Cornish main line, yeah, there is no shortage of gradients here. So quite unexpected, but yeah, there's no speed limit changes as we approach St Earth station. So of course we are going to be just going straight through all stations except for the one designated stop on each route. So I'll say our first stop will be Plymouth, but we are still some 74.5 miles away from it. And given the rather low speed limits on the Cornwall main line, or Cornish main line, this particular part is likely to take a couple of hours. For some reason I had it in my head that this was a 70 zone, not a 75. So this 1 in 70 downhill. So here is St Earth station. I think after this particular stretch has been completed, we will certainly need to reboot this PC. So anyway, we do have speed reduction coming up down to 45, and I think that's us going over points. Don't quote me on that, none of the signals have indicated that that is the case. Actually, that could just be the indicator for the Moppers board, yeah, showing 45. So we're now fine as far as the speed for that section, although we've braked for it and it's still half a mile away. So it's something that I do far too often. But then our speed goes up to 60 just as we finish going through Hale Station, and for the vast majority of this section until we reach Plymouth, 60 is going to be our max speed. I'll also add here, because yeah, it's as good a time to say this as any. Bearing in mind that this is a run that's going to be spread across 12 videos, I think I am actually going to upload and make these available as soon as I've, like, you know, recorded them, because I could do with some subjects and some topics of discussion, because while I'm doing a run that is, I think, over 800 miles, yeah, I could do with some subject matter to talk about during this time. I don't think too many people would want me to be silent for hours on end. Having said that, I'm sure there are plenty of people who would like me to be silent for hours on end, but you know what I mean. So we're currently on this 1 in 76 uphill climb, but yeah, by all means, you know, bung me in the comments any suggestions for things to discuss while we are making this run. Oh, I noticed that too late. I'm sure someone out there will make a will keep a running total of our number of operational errors, and once the 13th and final video is up, they will let us know just how badly I did do. So we're now on a 1 in 63, although it is starting to level out slightly, but it is still a 1 in, okay, well, it was a 1 in 92 when I was starting to say that. Now, as strange as this route is, because I can't imagine there would be a huge number of people really eager to get from Penzance to Mallaig, it's not that unusual for CrossCountry to actually do a route like this. But I'm sure they do a route that is, it's either Plymouth to Dundee or Plymouth to Aberdeen. They do Brighton to Cardiff. They do Norwich to Liverpool. I think they do something like Swansea to Newcastle. So really, well, I mean, as the name of the company suggests, yeah, really like crisscrossing the country and connecting these towns and cities that you wouldn't necessarily think would really need such routes. But yeah, they do it, and they do plenty of them. It does make you then wonder, why did they use such short trains? And okay, yeah, obviously with the Voyager series of trains, you could connect two together and double the amount of carriages available, so that passengers actually have some space. But they very rarely did that. So, you know, all too often you would yeah, be getting a class 220 and find that it was only a 4-car train, or getting a 221 and finding it's only a 5-car, and even the 222 again finding it's just a 5-car train, even when they're connecting major cities. You know, London to Leicester, it's a 5-car train. It happens so many times. Now, apart from the obvious answer, which is because it would have meant spending the least amount possible to get a train, you know, running, why would they do that? It does show that the privatised companies just did not give a toss about the passengers. So I'm hoping that GBR will turn all of that around. So we're now on another 1 in 67 uphill climb. And this is certainly a route that gives train engines a proper workout. And bearing in mind that the last time I did this route, I'm trying to remember what train I was in, and I was going the other way. Actually, I think it was an 800, wasn't it? Or an 802, one of the two. Yeah, it would have been an 802, yeah. So we've been using high-speed trains, and they are really going to struggle on you know, gradients like this. It's now 1 in 51. So Camborne is fast approaching. Still climbing, 1 in 67 at the moment, but it does level out as we go through Camborne station. Yep, here we are. And thankfully, in less than half a mile, we get the chance to increase speed further, up to 70. The horn certainly sounds better from the outside than it does from within the cab. So let's give it full notch 4. Engine sounds pretty good. It's not quite a Valenta HST, but yeah, still sounds pretty good to me. Just thought, could I open the windows, but nope. Oh. That's not good. And we do have another fairly hefty speed reduction coming up. Oh, it's still a mile away, but still. So max speed of 40 as we are approaching and going through Red Roof Station, but once we leave that station we will be able to go back up to 70. Yeah, this 1 in 120 climb is still affecting our speed. So if I start coasting, the speed comes down really quickly. But putting it in the notch 1, yeah, we do start gaining speed at a reasonable rate. So we're into the 40 zone. So here is Red Roof Station. And we're now in the 70 zone. Unusual that the 70 zone starts while on that somewhat tight bend. So 1 in 106 downhill, that's yeah, we're still gaining speed even with 20% brakes on. And then in a mile and a half we're down to 55. I think with the amount of gradients that we are going to be approaching, we might be on, yeah, we may have that 55 max for a while. I won't accelerate as we go up this 1 in 100 climb, because once we get to the other end we're going to be picking up a fair bit of speed as we make the descent. Having that happening while I'm trying to sort out my ICOS. So 1 in 69 downhill, and yeah, of course we have that 55 mph limit coming up. We've got to brake pretty hard for this. So it's now 1 in 77. So we're in the 55 zone. Again, steep. Yeah, it's become more steep. It was 1 in 64, 1 in 65 now. So again, a pretty steep climb, 1 in 71, but we are now entering a 60 zone. Which we are now in. We'll pick up a bit of speed. We don't need to pick up a hell of a lot, because again, once we reach the summit of this particular hill, we will gain speed going down the other side. And we're very close to the summit now. But yeah, we're at the summit as we pass under this first bridge. So 1 in 80 descent. We will let that build our speed up. So this is quite a short ascent here, and then yeah, here are at the summit, and again now making our way down, 1 in 81. And this descent goes on for a while. Now 1 in 79. Yeah, 25% braking, and it's still not slowing us. So further speed reduction in just under a mile and a half, down to 30 mph as we approach Truro. But once we are through there, we can then go back up to 70. Yeah, one other thing I forgot to mention in the intro, our fuel here, 790 gallons. That would be enough to get us from here to Mallaig, no problem. But obviously we are going to be refueling at each stop. One in 60 downhill. Definitely need a bit more braking. Mind you, this 30 mph limit will certainly be okay for that. There we go. So here we are, the 30 limit, and this is Truro Station. Can't give it the full thrash as we go through here because we'll be speeding almost immediately, but now so yeah, there we are. That was Truro. Another fairly hefty viaduct right here. So you pass by Truro city centre. There is the cathedral in the background. We're now in a 70 zone, so I don't know why I'm hanging about like this. Let's get some speed up. The dreaded semaphore signals being used around here. There's the supports of the old viaduct that was here. So now climbing a 1 in 77, now 1 in 78 gradient. So that's really slowed down our acceleration. Bit of a balls up there, to put it mildly. So that's what, 3 speeding errors already, and yeah, we're still over 51 miles away from Plymouth. So I've not done too well on this stretch. Mind you, this is only going to be the second time that I'll have driven the full length of this stretch. I'm certainly not used to it at all. So we are at the summit of this particular hill. We're now going down a 1 in 74. 65 mph limit coming up in about 2/3 of a mile. So we're in the 65 zone. Looks like we've got quite a steep climb, and it's going on for a fair while. 1 in 86. I thought it would actually be steeper than that, but it's certainly steep enough. See if we get a trackside view on the 3rd attempt. No. Yeah, so now I'm 1 in 67, so yeah, it has got a lot steeper. So I keep getting notch 1 at the moment just to reduce the rate at which our speed is brought down. Now that we are on the summit and now heading downhill, we can definitely throttle off. Coast down here, 1 in 94. So a curve as sharp as this on a downhill section. Okay, it has leveled out slightly, but still 1 in 125. This is not an easy section for train drivers to be taking on. It's leveled out quite a bit now. We are on an uphill section now, but it's pretty gentle. Penzance again. Oh shit, I accidentally put it into emergency. Yeah, we're alright. It does look like we're on a section where the track is not being rendered. I seem to remember, yeah, I saw that when we were doing the run the other way, and I said it looked like there was some track that I thought it had been taken up, but no, in fact it turns out it's just not rendered. That's annoying, but hopefully, it doesn't happen again. I don't remember seeing any other sections where that was happening. Yeah, we dropped a lot of speed here. We dropped like 12 mph. Let's get that back. So now I'm 1 in 83 uphill. And getting steeper, 1 in 70. Not familiar with what this is, but I'm sure it's written in the the manual for the line as one of the sites to look out for. So the next station coming up in 1.5 miles is St Austell. We are on a downhill section. Will we continue to gain speed? Yeah, well, especially now that it's got a bit steeper. Okay, not for very long. Now, yeah, we are back to losing it again, so let's sort that out. In fact, I think it's, yeah, a lot steeper now, 1 in 84. So here is St Austell Station, and I dare say St Austell Town as well. So it's now 1 in 60 downhill, so even with 25% braking we're still gaining speed. But we're gaining it at a relatively slow rate. So I say relatively slow rate, we're gaining it at a very slow rate. And yeah, I suppose we better start losing some speed for that 60 mph section coming up. And in fact, I think that 60 zone is going to be quite a long one. So again, me not paying enough attention. So it's now 1 in 65. 30% braking, and yeah, okay, the speed is coming down, but incredibly slowly. That's more like it. So, Par is the next next station. We have a few speed changes as we leave that station, or rather as we go through it. So the lowest is 55, which we are on now anyway. Alright, so yeah, we're now going to be hitting quite a steep downhill section, 1 in 57. So here is Par Station. Looks like Par is more a sort of largest village than an actual town. You know, we can now get some speed up. We're about to enter a 65 zone. We're already in a 60. And we're on a 1 in 85 uphill climb. So let's give it some full throttle. Well, this 65 zone didn't last particularly long. So 55 in a mile and a half. We're now on a 1 in 62 uphill climb. That's the warning for the 55 zone. I guess we better start braking, especially as we do have a downhill section coming up. So we're going to need to be braking pretty hard through there. Okay, we're in the 55 zone now. And we're going to need to get that down to 45 as we approach Lostwithiel. Or the orcs still sieging Lostwithiel. Oh, he really does sound like something that's come out of fucking Middle Earth. Okay, so we're off the 1 in 65 downhill stretch. Now, it does look quite nice here, has to be said. Probably costs an absolute fortune to get a place here, so it should be. So yeah, we hope that was Lostwithiel station. And let's get some speed up then. We can now go back up to 60. And then on another mile we can actually go up to 65. Get us up to 65, but yeah, we're going to have to lose a fair bit. 50 mph limit as we approach Bodmin Parkway. In 66 uphill, speed is coming down really quickly. We do have this 50 mph limit as we're entering the station, so we'll let the uphill stretch do our braking for us. So yeah, we're now absolutely fine. So here is Bodmin Parkway. I'm not entirely sure how close to Bodmin Moor it is, but yeah, back into a 60 zone. We'll take it up to notch 3, but I don't think we need full power yet. So again, 55 mph zone coming up. Then a mile and a half. We've got a fairly steep climb towards it. We're currently going downhill, 1 in 68. It's now levelling out. And now heading uphill, 1 in 69. So now 1 in 95, I mean it's still steep enough. Now 1 in 67, so yeah, this climb is not letting up any. So we're into the 55 zone. Quite the hefty viaduct there we were just going over. And here's another. Yeah, that is quite the drop from there. Alright, we're really losing speed here. 1 in 90 climb. And we were coasting it. Okay, entering a 60 zone. Let's get ourselves up to that. Now we've got, yeah, quite a steep descent coming up by the looks of it. 1 in 53, that's steep enough. The rate our speed's going up. And this has been quite the tricky journey this so far. The number of times it feels like we're being bumped from behind by the passenger carriages, the other units, and we really shouldn't be, but it really does feel like we are. So I'm continuing to coast, even though we're on a climb of 1 in, well, it's constantly changing actually, but yeah, we have now just reached the summit, and then we'll let the down the hill section 1 in 68 do our accelerating for us. So according to our ETA, we're a half hour away from Plymouth. We are less than 20 miles now. So it is all going quite well. Now we have a 55 section coming up, so let's see if we can at least try and maintain our speed rather than gain too much. No, we're not going to. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, another pretty hefty viaduct that we just went over there. Going up a 1 in 59. So here is Liscard Station. Let's give it some full thrash. Couldn't really do it for very long though. Another sizable viaduct. I think we got another right here, yep. Speeding again. I dread to think how many speeding errors I've already got. As far as this route is concerned, we've barely started. Right, so another fairly sustained downhill Yeah, another downhill section. 1 in 74. Certainly steep enough. So yeah, Menheniot is the next station, about 1.25 miles ahead of us. So I'm pretty sure we have left Cornwall behind us now. We are in Devon now. But I think we entered Devon pretty much as we left Bodmin Parkway. So we've been in Devon for a little bit. So, yeah, Menheniot station right there. Quite a basic one. Yeah, not a huge amount there. Another big old viaduct. I was still braking, we certainly didn't need to be. So only 13 miles from Plymouth now. I'm thinking the Albert Bridge is probably not too far away. So old St Germans station coming up in a mile and a half. We have a speed reduction to 50 just as we approach it, but then if we leave it we can go up to 70, which is the fastest we've been able to do for a fair while now. So this one in 68 yeah, descent rather caught me out. I only just spotted it in time. So yeah, into the 50 zone. Here is St Germans station. We're now entering the 70 zone. There we go. I'm not sure what river this is that we are crossing. Another river that I'm not familiar with. So this 45 zone that's coming up, I can't help thinking that is where we are. Yeah, Oh no, maybe it's not. I was going to say I think it might be where we are approaching the Albert Bridge. Actually, I think the Saltash station there is a station that, yeah, if we were coming the other way from Plymouth, pretty much as soon as we come off the Albert Bridge, we are in Saltash station there. So I think that's what that is. Yeah, that 50 mph limit there, 1.7 miles away, that's on the approach to the Albert Bridge. So 1 in 64 uphill here. So yeah, we've got to lose a lot more speed. Obviously this climb up this 1 in 63 will certainly help. So, yeah, this is the Tamar that we are now running alongside. As we approach Saltash station. Still on this 1 in 65 climb, now 1 in 64. So this is Saltash station. So it's actually the 15 mph section where we are on the Albert Bridge. And then, yeah, to our left is the Tamar Bridge. I thought they might have called it something a bit more original than that, but I have it on good authority from Nicky Boom 75 that it is indeed the Tamar Bridge. In fact, you can see it written up there. Along with Brunel here. So the Tamar Bridge from 1961. And the Albert Bridge that we are on here is somewhat earlier than that. It certainly would make a great screenshot if I remembered to actually take it. It's a bit late now, but there you go. So, we come off the bridge structure, so we are entering a 50 mph section. There we go. So St Budo Ferry Road is the next. I don't know actually. I don't know if it's St Budo or Budo. Certainly one of them. I did hear somebody call it St Budo. Yeah. We've got quite a few stations coming along in quick succession here. So, yep, St Budo Ferry Road there. Pretty basic stuff. This 1 in 59 downhill section is making life really bloody awkward. No idea what what bridge this is. So, Kean station is coming up right here. We are now on an uphill section, so yeah, we'll definitely throttle up a bit here. Can't give them the full trash though. I don't think we'll get away with it, especially as we have a 40 mph section coming up. Yeah, just 2/3 of a mile. Devonport Dockyard and then Devonport stations coming up in quick succession. Devonport is the penultimate stop of this run. So yeah, here we are, this is Devonport Dockyard station. Doesn't look all that close to the dockyard on me, but there you go. And then Devonport station itself is the other side of this tunnel. As we are now in a 40 zone. Yeah, here we are, this is Devonport station. Christ, again the gradient's catching me out while I'm trying to take yeah, trying to do the old exterior views. This route is yeah, definitely going to take quite a bit of mastering. So you just need to shave off a bit of speed while we're on this 1 in 100 downhill section. 25 mph section coming up in half a mile. And then after that it is Plymouth station itself, our first stop. So we're fine for this final speed reduction of this part of the run. So it looks like a double yellow signal aspect, but yeah, that is absolutely fine. It's only a single. AWS is no longer enabled. So here we are at Plymouth Station. There we go. So the passengers off here. There we are. So yeah. This is Plymouth, our first stop of the journey.